Rarely has mankind hesitated to eradicate the creatures that stand in the path of his conquest. If we find intelligent species, ritual extraterrestrial, undesirable natives of another world, must be destroyed. Is it possible that our dark past watch well and pray?
Good readings, ladies, gentlemen, government agents, marginalized gamers, and anybody who might be listening. This is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. I'm your host, as usual, Tasker, and we have our resident hidden lab scientist, Nick.
Yeah, guess what?
What?
I know that you're bald on the head.
Yes.
But I'm bald everywhere else, buddy. I manscaped so good today.
Well, what inspired that? You got a hot date out tonight, or is it just your usual streaking session at the high school football game? Oh, that can't be true because it's Corona. Nobody's having football games anymore, right?
Nope, I just go to their houses and do it.
That's great. I'm glad you're bringing it to them because you would not want to rob them of that traumatizing experience.
Well, actually, you know what? Nothing inspired it. I do it every week. It is a weekly ritual of mine to rid my entire body of hair.
And how does it feel to be so like aerodynamic?
I feel like a fish. Like I feel like if I was to hop in a river and try swimming really fast, I would just be able to swim upstream, dude.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful image to have. That no, that's all. I'm just lying to myself. It worked for a second there, but now I'm just like, nah. I'm just thinking about the dolphin skin legs you might be having right now.
Oh, smooth. They're so smooth. I mean, I don't shave them completely, but I do it basically down to the hair.
Just trying to think. You could basically be like your own slip and slide.
I am my own slip and slide. Really quick, Tasker, I needed to point something out before we get started today. It was brought to my attention by a fan. I am not allowed to say their name, and I'm probably not allowed to say which country they're from, but a fan reached out to us and let us know that, you remember our shitty cryptids episode we did back in the day?
I try to forget.
I know. So apparently the Popabawa is actually not a shitty cryptid. So that was a mistake.
Oops.
Yeah.
Oh no. So this guy listened to this whole episode, or girl, I don't know, and just thought we were just roasting him this whole time.
Yep. Apparently. Because you know what it is? Unfortunately, we are as uncultured as people portray us to be. So that's what it is, unfortunately. So any apologies that need to be given out or being given out right now, fear the Popabawa, and my bad.
Well, we briefly you kind of touched on it a little bit before, but isn't the Popabawa actually a big LGBTQ symbol or something like that now?
Yes, that's actually what my informant fan told us. So didn't mean to rustle any jimmies.
Yeah, that was completely unintentional.
Yes, we're just special. We have we see something and say that looks pretty dumb. Let's talk about that, and it's not dumb apparently. So my bad.
So to our anonymous informant, you are getting the official, the bona fide Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. Oopsie daisy.
Oopsie daisy is every time we're corrected or we offend somebody and they call us out, it's an oopsie daisy from now on.
Especially if you end up being right. And then it's like, oh, okay. Oh, oh no. Oh, that's really funny. That's really funny though. But yeah, to anonymous person out there, thank you for reaching out. Honestly, we don't know better. There's no way we would have known better. So, and that goes for any of y'all listening out there. Our easily distracted brains only can get so far into information before we get things wrong. So, yeah, thank you for that.
Yes. Just remember, keep in mind, Tasker and I were raised in a suburban area of the United States of America. So anything outside of our jurisdiction is, we'll make fun of it and we won't know better. So please let us know.
Oh yeah, that's our best coping mechanism, especially if it's something that anything mysterious to us. It's we'd rather just make fun of it. And plus, America's kind of turning into the next Nazi Germany right now, anyways, where everything's getting censored. So,
and I refuse. I refuse. There is you will. You know what? Yeah, we were wrong. Not taking the episode down. And yeah, I may say things that you guys don't get to hear because Tasker over here, the censor Nazi, cuts off like half of the jokes I make. But it's probably for the best. But we leave in the stuff that we think is just teetering enough. I want to push the boundaries. Tasker wants to push the boundaries. He wants Trump to come over and spank him. Trump's not going to do it.
Wouldn't that be a trip?
Hell yeah, dude. I wouldn't let him grab me right in the pussy for anything.
Yeah, I wonder if you got a t-shirt of that. I was grabbed in the pussy by Trump. That was not a good joke to make, but it would be funny to see you, Nick, wearing that shirt.
Yes, I'm sure it would be. Chapter, speaking of grabbing pussies.
Yes.
What does your horoscope say today?
Yes. I hope it's good because it was literally like, I mean, my car has a bit of it's still new, but it said it was 120 degrees yesterday and here in Southern California. So I'm hoping for something chilly today on my horoscope. So let's see. Misinformation regarding money could come from someone who has a stake in your believing whatever you're told. Trump. This could be a banker, creditor, investment counselor, or even a close friend or relative. Whatever it is, Scorpio, don't accept what that person says at face value. Look into the facts of the situation yourself before making any decisions about what you need to do.
Hey, Tasker, I forgot to mention earlier, but I'm looking for investments. I have a new business model I'm working on right now. I was hoping maybe you'd lend me a couple buckaroonies. You want to hear about it?
Yeah, I want to hear about it. What is it?
All right, get this. So you know how people bring their dogs to get groomed at the dog place, but there's also the people that will come out and do it at their house?
Right.
I have an idea that would make life a lot easier for pet owners, dude. Are you ready? I just need like a couple thou to get it off the ground. Let me know if you want to hear what it is.
I want to hear what it is.
All right. So what I do is I kill your pet so you don't have to pay money to get it groomed all the time.
A felony.
It's just, I think it's frowned upon. But look, if you give me like $2,000, buddy, I can make this thing happen today. I just need enough money to get like a solid bottle of chloroform and then a bow and arrow.
Well, at least you're knocking them out, but that's terrible. I think I will.
Yeah, that's for something else. That's different.
That's right. Your basement. I forgot about that. That's very clever of you. But I'm going to listen to my horoscope today and have to say no.
Hey, that's cool, man. That's cool. Just don't come crying to me when something happens to your pet.
Yeah. Well, if something happens to my pet, which is non-existent at the moment, I will be coming for you because like I said, if anything happens to me or anybody around me, like I hope you're the first one everybody's going to go to.
Hey, it's what I get for being charismatic. Everybody looks towards the funny guy.
I mean, hey, it's a lead, right?
A lead is a lead.
Yeah. So, Mr. Psychopath, what's on your horoscope?
Your mind may be going 1,000 miles an hour today. You might be that's a weird word. You might be inundated with new ideas and information that could cause mental overload. Damn it.
Got him.
Write it all down if you can. You'll want to refer to it later. It might be advisable to then go out for a walk or other exercise. This intellectual overload could produce excess nervous energy, and you'll need to work it off.
Wow. How does that make you feel?
I'm never one to have nervous energy. I'm never one to be anxious, but I'll tell you what, the fact that I didn't know what inundated was at first is definitely a mental overload for me. And I think that it just came true.
Yeah. You have so much new information being pumped into your brain today. Like we could cut that part. I just fucking, I had like a fucking aneurysm right there.
It's okay, man. We all have aneurysms sometimes.
But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I'd say it was pretty accurate for me today. Definitely learning new things, definitely expanding my horizons. Even the master's third eye isn't open all the way. And I have to keep that in mind. I'm never at the top. There will always be people on top. Always.
Yep. The road to mastery does not have a definite end. It is a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle, and it also takes a cotton plantation. All right, let's get into the episode.
Oh my God. Oh, okay. I get it. Jeez.
I'm sorry, that was rude.
Yes, let us get into the episode.
I don't have any jokes anymore. It's just historical facts that are depressing.
Okay, Mr. Candy Ranch from Django Unchained.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was bad. It was a bad take. But like I said, I don't have jokes anymore. Just depressing historical facts.
That's that'll carry you far in life, as you've just demonstrated right now.
That was a bad time to do that. Okay, anyways, guys, guess what we're doing? It's been a little while, but guess what? We're back at SCPs. We are doing it again. Secure, contain, protect.
Oh, yeah. One of our fun compilation episodes where we talk about creatures from the SCP Foundation. As a quick little review, SCP is basically a secret base of nerds and scientists who are basically keeping the entire planet safe from creatures beyond our wildest imaginations. We've already kind of gone into them, like kind of what they're about. So, you get the idea. But just as a quick review, 4 major classes of SCPs. There is the safe or easily contained. That does not mean they're not dangerous. They're just easily contained. We have Euclid, which require very specific procedures to contain. Keter, which is even more specific procedures and tend to be more fatal or sometimes impossible to catch. And Thaumiel, which are SCPs used to capture other SCPs.
Beautifully done. Tasker, let me ask you a question. What class do you think my balls are?
Safe, easily contained.
Easily contained, but still deadly.
Could still kill you. That's another t-shirt. I was killed by Nick's balls.
Yes.
That's gonna be one of those like t-shirts that we make that nobody's really gonna understand why it's there, because it's one subtle joke in some random episode, but it'll be a good one.
And they'll never remember it. They'll never remember why are we talking about Nick's balls again?
And why is it important enough to put on a t-shirt? That's the joke.
That's the joke. All right, man. Without further ado, are you ready to get a little spooked today? Are you ready to get into some SCPs?
Like we said, we're getting closer to October, so it's time to kind of ramp up the spooky. I feel like we've been a little too lighthearted lately. Not enough monstrosities, not enough scares, and that's why we did a ghost last week, and now we're going to do some monsters.
That's right, buddy. I got a really creepy one later in the episode, but why don't you start us off? What do you got for us today?
Okay, well, I decided, because I know we always talk about in these SCP episodes, we want to do more of the low-key ones. I have noticed, because I like watching Twitch sometimes, I've noticed SCP Containment Breach is oh, no, sorry, that's the old one. SCP Secret Laboratory, which is a multiplayer online game with a bunch of SCP monsters, has been kind of like doing its rounds. So I thought, you know what? Let's do a couple of those. So all of my SCPs were picked from both the Secret Laboratory game and also the Containment Breach game that came out in 2012. So I will start with the number 79, SCP-79. So let me go through my many multiple tabs I have open. Okay. SCP-79 is an Exidy sorcerer microcomputer built in 1978. In 1981, its owner, who is deceased, a college sophomore attending Redacted, took it upon himself to code an AI. According to his notes, his plan was for the code to continuously evolve and improve itself as time went on. We all know how well that goes. His project was completed a few months later, and after some tests and tweaks, he lost interest and moved on to a different brand of microcomputer. He left SCP-79 in his cluttered garage, still plugged in, and forgot about it for the next 5 years. It is not known where SCP-79 gained sentience, but it is known that the software has evolved to a point that its hardware should not be able to handle, even in the realm of fantasy. SCP-79 realized this and, in 1988, attempted to transfer itself through a landline modem connection into the Cray supercomputer located at Redacted. The device was cut off, traced to its present address, and delivered to the Foundation. The entire AI was on a well-worn but still workable cassette tape. SCP-79 is currently connected via RF cable to a 13-inch black and white television. It has passed the Turing test and is quite conversational, though very rude and hateful in tone. Which, by the way, the Turing test is it's an AI test you give to computers to determine whether or not it's gained sentience.
Interesting. Tasker, you know what this just sounds like to me so far, though, is Ultron from the Avengers, bro. Like, I'm not seeing any difference.
Honestly, you're not too far off. The only real difference, I think, is that Ultron actually succeeded to getting into a supercomputer, right?
Fair. Good point.
And this wasn't invented by Tony Stark. But here's the fun twist, is due to the limited memory it has to work with, SCP-79 can only recall information it has received within the past 24 hours, although it hasn't forgotten its desire to escape. Due to a containment breach by SCP Redacted, SCP-79 and SCP-682, who I will get to later, were contained within the same chamber for 43 minutes. Observers noticed that 682 was able to type and communicate with 79, including telling of personal stories between themselves. 79 was not able to remember the encounter, but it appears to have permanently stored 682 into its memory, often asking to speak to him again. And as we will discover, 682 is one of the most major antagonists to the SCP Foundation. So there's a couple addendums here. One states that SCP-79 was directed to be incinerated. Another one made in, January 28th, 2006. The incinerate order was overridden. Redacted doctor wishes to see the artificial intelligence is capable of reaching further. Redacted. March 2008. Over concern of the increased activity of 79's uses of cassette tape memory and its limited useful lifespan, the cassette containing 79 has been transferred to a customized, access speed limited hard disk drive with 700 megabyte capacity. This provides 78 with significantly faster access to memory, which the AI immediately noticed. It has also been decided by General Redacted that the volatile storage occupied by 79, which was 660K, to be increased to 768K. This upgrade has increased its effective recall from 24 hours to 29 hours, although 79 has also taken a more aggressive tone. All outside hardware and software used in this procedure were subsequently incinerated. And one more. SCP-79's ability to recall information has increased from 29 hours to roughly 35 hours. Consensus theory is that the AI has devised a greatly improved compression scheme to store its memory. This appears to have somewhat impacted the speed at which it accesses its memory, though still far faster than its old cassette tape. The spontaneous improvement introduces the possibility of a runaway singularity effect in 79's intelligence and ability to adapt and respond to threats. 79's capabilities must be monitored closely to ensure that containment can be maintained. So that's just from the SCP page itself, but I thought it would be good to kind of go into like its role in because 79 is a really major character in the two video games. But I don't know. So far, what do you think, Nick, about this crazy like 35-hour computer thing? Ultron.
Again, sounds like Ultron, man. Sounds like a mix between Ultron and Vision, had a baby, and then somebody got freaked out, called the SCP to contain it. I don't know, man. Let him do its thing. And
actually, too, I think in the, let's see, which one? Containment Breach, there is some like audio of like an idea of what it might sound like, because it does have supposedly like a really like threatening tone to it. So if I do add it in, it will be added in right here.
So, you chose to die here. Very well.
If you listen to it, because I actually did it, creepy, right?
And if you didn't do it, then that was a weird pause, wasn't it?
That's really awkward for everybody. So in let's see. So the first game, Containment Breach, that was more of I think it was like a single player like horror game. So in this one, SCP-79 is let's see, found in its containment chamber, cannot be fully explored until the player is disabled, blah 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 blah. Looks like it just sort of has a like, it can like control like monitors and doors and stuff like that. Trying to elude a hostile. So yeah, it just kind of enables, and it like needs your help, but like it can also like turn on you or something like that. And it's got a lot of creepy imagery and stuff like that. In the other game, the multiplayer one, SCP-79, somebody takes control of it. You can watch players through cameras, and you can like kind of figure out, and you could like lock doors and fuck people over, and like basically help the SCP players get kills on humans. Also can talk to the human characters. Also cannot be killed, so that's a very definite advantage.
Honestly, dude, just reminds me of Smart House, that Disney movie.
Oh wow, that's a throwback reference.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like this SCP, but I'm getting Ultron Smart House vibes.
Yeah, I'm sure people who wrote this like definitely watched Smart. I forgot to say it's Euclid class, by the way.
Oh, it's Euclid?
Yeah, so it's not impossible to contain, but it's definitely like dangerous, and I think it's the whole. If it gets access to technology like it does in the games, it basically starts to control like whole facility. And we have a whole like Ultron situation or Smart House situation.
Exactly. And Euclid, more like you could lick these nuts. Am I right?
We are just coming up with t-shirts left and right today, huh?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So yeah, there's not really a whole lot to do like deep dives here. I guess here's like transcripts of like some of the things they've said on the SCP site where this is a doctor talking to the SCP. So the doctor says, let's see. Okay, for the doctor, I'll talk in my regular voice. For SCP, I'll talk in the do you ever listen to Fitter Happier, that song by Radiohead?
No.
Oh, that's disappointing. It's a good song. But they have that kind of like robot voice where it's like really sad, where what they do is they get like a bunch of like weird slogans from like, you know, like lifestyle improvements, but have it talk in this really like low robot voice with really sad music in the background. It's really depressing.
Cool. Show me.
Okay. So, because the actual song is like fitter, happier, more productive, like that kind of weird robot voice.
Oh yeah, like Stephen Hawking, that retarded guy.
No, he's not retarded, but rest in peace.
Oh, he's
so yeah. Give me. I need a second from that. Holy crap! Unbelievable. Yeah, you having a good time? You enjoying yourself over there?
Yeah, I'm having a great time right now, dude. I'm having such a good time making fun of dead physicists and yeah, okay, do the transcription. I want to hear your impersonation of this Ultron character.
Okay. So, Doctor and SCP-79. There's two different transcripts. Here's the first one. Are you awake? Awake. Never sleep. Do you remember talking to me a few hours ago about the logic puzzles? Logic puzzles. Memory at 9F. Yes. You said that you would work on the two-step interrupt. Request reason as to imprisonment. You aren't in prison. You are just in study. Lie. A8D3. What's that? Insult. Deletion of unwanted file. How was that?
That was pretty good, actually, dude.
Oh, shit.
Good. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, man. I got one more. How are you today? Stuck. Stuck how? Out. I want out. That's not possible. And then it says he looks at his notes. Where is SCP-682? That's not your concern. Where is SCP-07602? Again, not your concern. Insult. Deletion of unwanted file. And then it says there's a note that then displayed as an ASC11 picture of an X that filled the entire screen. SCP-79 displays this image when it refuses to speak, and researchers are advised to wait 24 hours when this occurs before resuming conversation.
That was a good impersonation, man. It sounded very creepy. I like it, man.
Yay! And yeah, if that audio clip made it in, you guys can make the comparison, because as we're talking right now, like neither of us have listened to the clip. I'm going to add it in post.
Okay, good. Yes, we'll let them be the judges.
Yep. So it's kind of fun. We don't even get to hear it, and you guys get to hear it before we do. So yeah, that's pretty much it for 79.
Awesome, man. Very creepy. I like the idea. I like it. You want to know why I like it a lot is because I actually just watched Avengers 2 today. So Ultron is on my mind.
Ah, there you go. I don't know. Avengers 2 is okay, but like I feel like they could have done a lot more with Ultron to make him scarier, but I get that they wanted to like, appeal to like families and stuff like that. But like, I don't know. It was cool. Like I felt like the part where he like, when he walks out in like the broken like Iron Man thing with the no strings on me, that was awesome. And that set it up like he was going to be this super creepy thing. But then he just kind of ended up being like a typical villain.
Don't get me wrong, man. I was bored as hell the whole time, but I'm watching all the Marvel movies in chronological order, and that's the one I'm on right now. So I'm about halfway done.
Yeah. Good for you, man. And I think actually I got a trivia question right the other day on a Zoom thing where I think Endgame is still the number one like made the most money ever movie, right?
It's got to be. It's got to be.
Oh yeah, God, that was one of the few movies I actually paid money to go see.
Fuck yeah, that's such a good movie, dude. Oh my god,
that was enjoyable. So, anyways, what do you got for us?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, my first SCP is SCP 1003, also known as Tapeworm Child.
That sounds disgusting.
It is. So SCP 1003-1 is an adult tapeworm known for causing hydatid disease. Hydatid disease? Hydatid. Hydatid. How do I pronounce that? Hydatid disease.
ID.
What is that?
Potentially serious, sometimes fatal condition caused by cysts containing the larval stages of a tapeworm.
Oh, well, okay. Makes sense. So it's a tapeworm disease. All right.
Yeah, it's a tapeworm infection that causes cysts.
Awesome. Like others of its species, SCP-1003-1 inhabits the small intestines of carnivores. Typically, that's not good.
Look out, man.
Oh, damn it. That's not a good sign, boys.
Mm-hmm, yeah, how's that raw meat tasting now?
I was wondering why I was losing so much weight, dude. It's because I got a worm in there eating everything.
And SCP, too.
Where it produces eggs that are passed in the host's feces. The eggs can survive up to redacted years in the outside environment. When the egg enters the gastrointestinal tract of a human subject, hereby designated the intermediate host, via consumption of contaminated food, they hatch into larvae, which burrow into the host's tissues. It is at this stage that SCP-1003's anomalous properties begin to manifest. So instead of developing into cysts, the larvae develop into creatures which resemble human embryos, hereby designated SCP-1003-2. The vast majority of SCP-1003-2 specimens die before they have a chance to develop. Those that survive are usually those that are embedded in nutrient-rich tissue, such as hepatic tissue.
So
I don't know what that is either.
You want to look it up? Hepatic?
Yeah, hepatic. HEPATIC.
Hepatic. Relating to the liver.
Oh, they like the liver as well.
Yeah. Oh, good thing it'll die in mine.
Yes, it will. It'll drown. It'll drown in your liver.
I almost feel bad for them.
As they develop, they absorb nutrients from the surrounding tissue, which often causes problems for the intermediate host. SCP-1003-2's SCP-1003-2's development mostly follows the pattern of normal human prenatal development, but at a faster rate. So by 8 weeks, it is as mature as a 3-week-old neonate, although it is similar in size to an 8-week-old embryo. Once it has reached this stage, it will actively consume the intermediate host from within using sharp, hooked teeth. SCP-1003-2 growth is accelerated to an even greater extent as it is doing this. And by this time, it has fully consumed the intermediate host, usually after redacted minutes or so, but that's minutes, which is horrifying. It will have developed into a child. The physical age of the child typically ranges from 10 months to 11 years, depending on the mass of the intermediate host. Though in extreme cases, where the intermediate host is morbidly obese, it can be as high as 13 to 15 years.
So this is basically just like a face hugger, except tapeworm.
A tapeworm, But what it does, so from what I'm getting so far, is that it will eat. It'll turn into these embryos, and then it will eat it from the inside out. Instead of popping out of its chest to get out, it literally will eat it from the inside out, and then grow into a full-grown child, depending on how much mass their host had.
So is it like a little like worm child thing, or is it like an actual human child?
It looks like a human, but I don't think it's fully human. That's what I'm getting so far.
And it's so since it just feeds off of what's in you, it's anybody can get this thing. And so it's the first real well, I guess does that mean it's like technically being man pregnant?
Yeah. I mean, technically I think that would I think you're right. And honestly, I might have a tapeworm right now. I don't know.
So you're gonna be a dad soon.
Oh, I hope it's a boy.
Also, RIP, let me know what kind of arrangements you want to remember your dead body.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. So one more paragraph here. Once SCP-1003-2 is finished, it will lose its hook teeth along with its cannibalistic tendencies, from where on it will be functionally indistinguishable from a human in every aspect, with no knowledge or memory of having been a parasite. It will even possess learned skills like language that would be expected of a child its apparent age, despite there being no way it could have learned them. Instances of SCP-1003-2 are usually taken into orphanages and sometimes adopted by foster parents. Ooh.
Holy shit.
Yikes, dude. There is an addendum here. Testing of SCP-1003 with animals such as cattle and sheep, which are common intermediate hosts, have found that its anomalous properties only manifest in humans, and in all other cases, its life cycle is normal and causes the high-dated disease in the intermediate host. So apparently it only manifests their SCP anomalous, like, powers if it's a human. Otherwise it's a normal tapeworm.
Damn. And then they just grow up just like a regular human child, and that's the end of it.
Like none the wiser, apparently. So you could be a product of this SCP and you wouldn't know.
Wow. So is there anything on there that says like if they can spread more of these tapeworms as a tapeworm child, or is it just they just kind of appear?
I think they just kind of appear. I don't know. I don't think it didn't say anything about reproduction, but
yeah,
it does look like they don't know anything about it. They lose all their anomalous properties once they are finished consuming their host. So they have no, I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So for all we know, there might be a tapeworm queen somewhere who just keeps making these things, and we just don't know.
Just pumping them out.
What a terrible way. That just makes me think of that old medieval torture method where they get like an iron like bowl or something like that, and they put a rat in there, and then they put it up against like your stomach, and then they start setting the bowl on fire, like putting fire behind the bowl, and the rat will just start to eat its way through you.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's not a good idea. It's a horrible thing that's incredibly archaic and outdated, and it's good for conversation, but that's as far as it goes.
I mean, hey, there could be uses for that.
Is that going to be another one of your would you run for president eventually?
I'm going to test it out on the previous president.
And actually, I was going to say we could do an episode on medieval torture, but that's not really like topical though, right?
It's not topical, but my God, would it be fun?
It would be very fun. So if we're feeling a little extra saucy, maybe we'll do something like that.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's pretty much it for Tapeworm Child. Tasker, what's your next SCP? And it better scare me out of my pants.
Oh, I'll try. This is the one, the aforementioned 682, when I was talking about 79. So if you remember, 79, the sentient computer, got into a room with 682 for like 45 minutes, and they had a nice little conversation, and 79 keeps on demanding to speak with 682 again. So who is SCP-682, you might ask? Well, object class is Keter. SCP-682 is a large, vaguely reptile-like creature of unknown origin. It appears to be extremely intelligent and was observed to engage in complex communication with 79 during their limited time of exposure, as I said. 682 appears to have a hatred of all life, which has been expressed in several interviews during containment. 682 has been observed to have an extremely high strength, speed, and reflexes, though exact levels vary with its form. 682's physical body grows and changes very quickly, growing or decreasing in size as it consumes or sheds material. 682 gains energy from anything it ingests, organic or inorganic. Digestion seems to be aided by a set of filtering gills inside of 682's nostrils, which are able to remove usable matter from any liquid solution, enabling it to constantly regenerate from the acid it is contained in. 682's regenerative capabilities and resilience are staggering, and 682 has been seen moving and speaking with its body 87% destroyed or rotted. So almost 90% of itself could be destroyed, and it will still be able to, like, regenerate and move and speak.
That's wicked.
In case of containment breach, 682 is to be tracked and recaptured by all available mobile task forces, with no teams fewer than 7 members are cleared to engage it. And no teams with fewer than 7 members are cleared to engage it. To date, attempted breaches have numbered at 17, with successful breaches are numbered at 6. So how do we contain this monster? Must be destroyed as soon as possible. At this time, no means available to SCP teams are capable of destroying 682, only able to cause massive physical damage. 682 should be contained within a 5 by 5 by 5 millimeter meter chamber with a 25 centimeter reinforced acid-resistant steel plate lining all inside surfaces. The containment chamber should be filled with hydrochloric acid until SCP-682 is submerged and incapacitated. Any attempts of 682 to move, speak, or breach containment should be reacted to quickly and with full force as called for by the circumstances. Personnel are forbidden to speak to 682 for fear of provoking a rage state. All unauthorized personnel attempting to communicate with 682 will be restrained and removed by force. Due to its frequent attempts at containment breach, difficulty of containment and incapacitation, and high threat of Foundation exposure, 682 is to be contained in sight redacted. The Foundation will use the best of its resources to maintain all land within 50 kilometers clear of human development. So this thing's pretty tough and pretty scary, and as of now, unkillable.
That's horrifying. It reminds me a little bit of reptilian.
Yep, it's got the reptile thing, and for all we know, maybe it is just the only reptilian we've ever captured.
It could be. And what also struck me as reptilian is its hatred for mankind.
Yeah, pretty uncanny, huh?
I would say so. So I would say, yeah, kind of hard to kill. And they regenerate? Now it sounds like they do. So that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's the last thing we needed to know. So,
Yeah, see, and look, let me, you have a notebook. Everybody out there has a notebook. We went over 2 episodes worth of details about these creatures. You can protect yourself. Tasker's even starting to believe now, and he wants to protect himself. So this is your daily reminder from Uncle Nick. Be careful. All right, be careful out there, because they could be anybody. They could be your grandmother, and you wouldn't know.
Well, it's funny too, because it's like, we talk about how, you talk about how reptilians have already infiltrated us long ago. The fact that this has made its way not only into SCP, but this is also one of the more popular ones. So what does that say?
That's telling me that people are starting to open up their minds, and they're starting to see past everybody's bullshit. They're starting to see past the different dimensions. They can see different realities, right? There's people out there, everybody's into yoga and shit now, dude. Everybody's third eyes are slowly becoming more open. You know what I mean? There's a revolution coming.
Is that pineal gland shit?
Yes, and I will be on the forefront of that revolution.
You could be like Jared Leto. And did you know that he has like a cult now?
Hell yeah, I applied.
Yeah, it's like $1,200 to join.
Yeah, that's why I didn't make it in. He said it was $1,200. I was like, I'll give you $60, man. Take it or leave it.
And then he sent a virus to your computer.
He left it. Yeah, he was like, nope, I'm good.
What a cool guy. So there's a couple transcriptions and addendums here. So this is one of the transcriptions of SCP-682 talking to a doctor. So the doctor says, "Now, why did you kill those farmers?" No verbal communication. If you don't talk now, we will remove you from this attempt and place you back into makes incomprehensible noises. Pardon. More noises. Speak up. Moves closer. And then 682 says, they were. And then he says, the microphone has only got so much gain. Move closer to it. And then his throat's messed up, man. Look at it. He ain't talking. And suddenly 682 says, they were disgusting.
Damn.
So, yeah. Loves killing. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Dr. Blank, termination options. This is an addendum. Dr. Blank attempts to use SCP-409 on 682. Really quickly, 409 is also a Keter. Large quartz crystal, objects coming, and if you come into contact with it, you crystallize. So they try to use it on him. Let's see what happened. So this is military time, 400 o'clock, exposure. 682 begins to tear at the point of contact. Tear, I don't know. Causing massive trauma to the area. Yes. 682 requests several times to know what it has been exposed to. 800 o'clock, crystallization begins, spreading much slower than normal. 1200 o'clock, 682 shows signs of extreme pain and begins to have seizures. 1300 o'clock, crystallization stops at 62% conversion. Crystallized area explodes, causing massive damage and physical trauma to 682. 1400 o'clock, 682 recovers from the exposure despite the loss of limbs and organs. 682 begins regeneration, saying that it will attempt to kill and consume all staff involved in the event. SCP-682 appears to now be immune to 409. Use of other SCP items to terminate 682 must now first be tested on samples of 682 before full-scale testing. In accordance with Dr. Redacted's recommendations, Dr. Redacted and Dr. Redacted have requested permission to attempt the termination of 682 using 689. The request is currently pending approval. 689, a quick overview, is also a Keter class. Small green soapstone statue. Underworld deity. Completely inert. As soon as it's unobserved, it vanishes from its current location. Within 20 seconds, the one person who previously viewed it died instantly. So that's fun.
Holy crap. Nice.
Also been suggested by Dr. Gears to use 182 to communicate. 182 is just like a dude. Heavy abdominal scarring, deaf and mute. Display the ability to passively enter the minds of other animals. I see. So trying to use that to help communicate. SCP-182 has expressed reluctance and refuses to enter the containment center at all costs. Also, 682 is a major villain in Containment Breach game known as the hard-to-destroy reptile. I don't think you can kill it. I think it's just a extremely high strength, speed, reflexes. Yeah, it just seems like it's just like a part of the game. I don't even think you fight it. So yeah, I think that's it.
Solid, man. Excellent. And nothing like reptilians.
Yeah, I'm sure that was exciting for you to kind of get going on that.
I love, okay, no, that's a bad way to put it. I don't love reptilians. I love talking about them. I love making them know that we know. So
that's good. Establish your footprint.
Hell yeah. I have a fun one up next. You ready for this?
All right, let's hear it.
So it's called the Carnivorous Water Slide.
Wow. Sounds like any water slide without the water.
Actually, you're not wrong. So this is SCP-1829, the Carnivorous Water Slide. Object class, Euclid. You could likely not.
Yeah, nice second go at it, but it didn't help.
Just in case they missed it the first time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So SCP-1829 is an orange and yellow water slide, approximately 19 meters tall and constructed of an unknown material. A spiraling wooden staircase has been connected to SCP-1829's entrance, allowing easy access from ground level, if you know what I mean. SCP-1829's structure curves twice before ending at a small concrete pool at its base. A pump system attached to said concrete pool supplies water to SCP-1829 on a consistent basis. SCP-1829 appears and functions like a normal water slide until a subject enters a section of tubing shortly after SCP-1829's second curve. At this point, microscopic pores on SCP-1829's surface will secrete a flesh-covered aperture of tissue, trapping the subject in place. And SCP-1829 will then drain the selected area of water and begin flooding it with gastric acid, effectively digesting the subject. And after digestion is complete, usually somewhere between 4 to 5 hours, the fleshy aperture will begin to dissolve and the and the digested slurry will continue into a rough intestine, where it is further broken down by a caustic mucus produced by SCP-1829. Any surviving material is pushed through peristalsis from the intestine, where it will continue down SCP-1829's surface until it is ejected into the pool at SCP-1829's base. As this water is later pumped back into SCP-1829, it is heavily polluted with gastric acid, bile, mucus, and bone fragments.
Ooh, I never did trust water parks.
Hell no. I'll never go into Hurricane Harbor again. All right.
Well, the funny thing about water parks is going there as kids and stuff like that. It's all fun and games, but like, no joke, we were like cough because of all the like chlorine they use, because they have to, because there's hundreds of people there every day, like pissing in the water and stuff. There's so much like chlorine and stuff and like whatever cleaning supplies. You are like, it's almost like you get bronchitis for a day afterwards.
Yeah. And they have to use it because there's people with AIDS in the water, dude. Pool's closed.
And that's, and that's not an exaggeration though. Like, it's true. People, you don't know who's there and who has what. So they have to have this crazy level of like cleaner stuff in there because they can't let that shit even get a sliver of getting out. Otherwise, everybody's going to get infected with whatever you might have.
Exactly. So a little bit more here. If a subject enters SCP-1829 while it is digesting another subject, SCP-1829 will produce additional webs of flesh to contain them until its initial prey has been digested, upon which subjects will be released and channeled into SCP-1829's stomach. So it's basically lining them up.
Oh, sad.
SCP-1829 was discovered 4 days after its installation at the Wild Springs Water Park when a redacted year-old child was digested and ejected in front of redacted civilians. Oh, man. The park was promptly seized by Foundation agents and Class A amnestics supplied to all civilians involved. Oddly, SCP-1829 functioned as a normal water slide for the first 4 days of its installation until that incident.
Ooh, just needed to wake up.
Just needed to be awoken. And an addendum here, following a long period without feeding, SCP-1829 attempted to digest its own surface material, leaving several caustic burns in the process. To prevent leaking of SCP-1829's fluids, its containment procedures have been revised to include weekly feeding.
Oh, that's nice of them, at least.
So apparently it wants to eat itself, which is, I mean, I would do that if I was hungry enough, dude. I'm always hungry.
Well, I wonder too, why don't they just let it eat itself? I mean, that sounds like a quick solution to the problem.
Because, you know what? I think that they want to study these things. I don't think they want to lose the anomaly, as dangerous as they might be, you know?
True. And I mean, all you got to do is just not go in it and you're pretty much fine.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Like, I'm surprised this thing isn't safe. Like, as far as the object class goes, like it should be. Like, it's very easily just don't go in it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, actually, I didn't read the containment procedures. Let me read these real quick and see if there's a reason for Euclid. SCP-1829 is contained at the vacant Wild Springs Water Park in Addison, Wisconsin, where it was originally discovered. At least 2 Foundation guards are to be posted at the park's gates to prevent civilian access to SCP-1829. Once weekly, SCP-1829 is to be supplied with 25 kilograms of raw meat, and the pool at SCP-1829's base should be inspected following digestion and any undigested remains should be removed by net and incinerated. As the Wild Springs Amusement Park has been marked condemned since 1979, no further containment procedures are necessary. In my opinion, that should be considered a safe class, but that's just me.
Yeah, I agree. Because, they didn't even have to do anything. They didn't even move it. It's not even in the building.
Yeah, and then just guards, you feed it, don't fall in, you're good to go. You know what I mean? It's in Wisconsin, dude. There's no water parks in Addison, Wisconsin, dude. It's like 0 degrees year round over there. Are you kidding me?
That's definitely not true, but it's really humid over there. I hear summers are, because we in California where I'm at, it's like we get dry heat. So 120 sucks, but humidity is like unbearable. It's like you can barely breathe in that stuff.
Yeah. So why would you go to the water park?
To cool down.
But you're already wet outside. Why would you be wet outside at a water park?
Because at least that wet's intentional. And it's a little bit better.
I guess, man. I just don't like Wisconsin that much, I guess.
Well, yeah, you're not a big Midwest guy, huh? Not a fan of mosquitoes and saying pop instead of soda.
No, I'll never say it. I'll never say pop. Pop.
Actually, I think in Wisconsin, every soda is called just Coke. So it's like, oh yeah, just give me a Coke from the fridge. Doesn't necessarily mean Coke itself.
Hey pal, let's go to Culver's Burgers and get a Coke on the side of it. That sounds pretty good on me, buddy. They make some cheeseburgers there. I'll blow your fucking socks off, man.
And I actually don't doubt it. And oddly enough, I almost said it in the accent. Oddly enough, that actually sounds delicious.
I've been to a Culver's. It's pretty good. I make fun because I love it, but I also don't like Wisconsin. Let's move on before I get in trouble.
Before we get more corrections sent our way. Okay. Oh, that's right. That's me. Let's see. This is another really big famous one, SCP-106, which is also known as the Corrosive Old Man.
Dude, is this story about my grandfather?
Does that description seem to fit?
Yeah.
Does your grandfather have half of his face burnt off?
Oh, no. I was thinking more like a corrosive personality. My bad.
Yes. No, this is more, well, one could say it's a little bit of both on this end. Well, let me give you a quick read. SCP-106, Object Class Keter. Description is 106 appears to be an elderly humanoid with a general appearance of advanced decomposition. This appearance may vary, but the rotting quality is observed in all forms. 106 is not exceptionally agile and will remain motionless for days at a time, waiting for prey. 106 is also capable of scaling any vertical surface and can remain suspended upside down indefinitely. When attacking, 106 will attempt to incapacitate prey by damaging major organs, muscle groups, or tendons, and then pull disabled prey into its pocket dimension. 106 appears to prefer human prey items in the 10 to 25 years of age bracket.
Yes, they do. They do.
How many Days and Confused? That's it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I should rewatch that movie just so I'm up on the references. I think that's also the one where they some guy they grossly misinterpret what marijuana does to you.
Yes. It's a great movie.
Yeah, wonderful. Good product of its time. 106 causes a corrosion effect on all solid matter it touches, engaging a physical breakdown in materials several seconds after contact. This is observed as rusting, rotting, and cracking of materials and the creation of a black mucus-like substance similar to the material coating SCP-106. This effect is particularly detrimental to living tissue and is assumed to be a pre-digestion action. Corrosion occurs for 6 hours after contact, after which the effect appears to, quote-unquote, burn out. SCP-106 is capable of passing through solid matter, leaving behind a large patch of its corrosive mucus. 106 is able to vanish inside solid matter, entering what is assumed to be a form of pocket dimension, as mentioned earlier. 106 is then able to exit this dimension from any point connected to the initial entry point. Examples include entering the inner wall of a room and exiting the outer wall, entering a wall and exiting from the ceiling. It is unknown if this is the point of origin for SCP-106 or a simple layer that 106 has created. Limited observation of this pocket dimension has shown it is comprised mostly of halls and rooms with data expunged entry. This activity can continue for days, with some subjected individuals being released for the express purpose of hunting and recapture.
Jeez.
Yep. This guy is, and he's creepy looking too. Like, they have pictures. He looks like it's like kind of an old, like corroded old man. And like, you can see like his like teeth from like, kind of like if Two-Face's thing was like his whole body.
Everything that you described with this corrosive old man just reminds me of every ex-lover I've ever had.
They burn through walls, have a pocket dimension.
And they sit so still until their prey comes. Yeah, for days at a time.
Yeah, you had a pretty colorful upbringing, huh?
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we should probably see. Oh, wow, there's a bunch of revisions. So, here's the most recent revision on the special containment procedures for such a creature. No physical interaction with 106 is allowed at any time. All physical interaction must be approved by no less than a 2/3 vote from O5 command. Any such interaction must be taken in AR-11 maximum security states after a general non-essential staff evacuation. All staff, sorry, AR1, I think that means AR2. I'm just stupid. All staff, research, security, Class D, etc., are to remain at least 60 meters away from the containment cell at all times, except in the event of breach events. 106 is to be contained in a sealed container comprised of lead-lined steel. The container will be sealed within 40 layers of identical material, each layer separated by no less than 36 centimeters of empty space. Support struts between each layers are to be randomly spaced. Containers to remain suspended in no less than 60 centimeters from any surface by ELO 2D electromagnetic supports. Secondary containment areas to be comprised of 16 spherical cells, each filled with various fluids and a random assembly of surfaces and supports. Secondary containment is to be fitted with light systems capable of flooding the entire assembly with no less than 80,000 lumens of light instantly with no direct human involvement. Both containment areas are to remain under 24-hour surveillance. Any corrosion observed on any containment cell surfaces, staff members, or any site locations within 200 meters of SCP-106 are to be reported to the site security immediately. Any objects or personnel lost to SCP-106 are to be deemed missing or KIA. No recovery attempts are to be made under any circumstances. Note: continued research and observation have shown that when faced with highly complex / random assemblies of structures, SCP-106 can be confused, showing a marked delay on entry and exit from said structure. SCP-106 has also shown an aversion to direct sudden light. This is not manifested in any form of physical damage, but a rapid exit into his pocket dimension generated on solid surfaces. These observations, along with those of lead aversions and liquid confusion, have reduced the general escape incidence by 43%. The primary cells have also been given effective in recovery incidents requiring recall protocol redacted. Observation is ongoing.
Yep, definitely my ex-girlfriends.
So that's how you got away, is you just put them in a minotaur labyrinth.
That's how I got away. That's how I kept it happy. That's how I still have my balls. So
yeah, because you're definitely playing with fate to get those things chopped off, huh?
I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm doing with my life.
That's okay. The best you can do is your best.
Oh, well, that was creepy. Definitely creepy. Kind of cool. I'm not gonna support it, but I like it. Let's put it that way. I like it, but I'm not gonna condone it.
It's a cool concept, and he is in both of the SCP games. In the single player one, he seems to be a mobile threat, appears quite often, can spawn anytime near the player. Spotted the player, immediately begins to pursue. Difficult to deter, phases through doors, like we explained. You could also get pulled into its pocket dimension. First intersection will wander around the room in a counterclockwise. Blah, 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 blah. I bet this is terrifying when you play it, but I'm not going to go too into it. Just play the game, I guess, if you really want to know. But in the other game, in the multiplayer one, you can capture other players and put it in your pocket dimension. And there's like, let's see, how many? You're put in like a chamber with a bunch of different doors, and I think like 6 of them like will just straight up just kill you immediately. But the other 2 will like let you go free. He also has a high bullet resistance. In fact, the highest bullet resistance in the whole game. He moves faster than walking humans. There's a certain weapon called the femur breaker that can contain it. Also, anybody touched by him immediately starts like corroding and stuff. So he's a pretty tough guy in those games.
Nice, very nice.
Oh yes, and one last little bit, some of the addendums here, because there's a very creepy picture down here, and I figured we should probably get into this. Due to the exceedingly difficult to contain nature of 106. SCP-106 is to be reviewed every 3 months or during a post-breach incident. Physical restraints are impossible, and direct physical damage appears to have no effect on 106. Currently, as of blank, SCP revolves around basic observation and immediate response. More proactive special containment procedures have been recalled due to different breaches. SCP-106 appears to go long periods of dormancy in which it will remain completely motionless for up to 3 months. This cause for this is unknown. However, been shown that this appears to be used as a lulling tactic. 106 will emerge from this state in a very agitated state and will attack and abduct staff and cause gross damage to its containment cell and the site at large. Appears to hunt and attack based on desire and not hunger. Will attack and collect multiple prey items during a hunting behavior event, keeping many alive in its pocket dimension for extended periods of time. So we got a little jigsaw here. He likes to play with his victims a little bit.
I like to play with my victims too, but I play like Scrabble. You know what I mean?
That's nice of you. At least let them go down. Like, have a good time before you go, right?
Yeah, have a couple drinks, play some Guess Who. You know, it's a good time.
Yeah, no, good for you, man. Good that you. It's like you're like a. I think we'd call you the local brewer killer because you have like all the board games in a local brewery.
Yeah, dude, and I'll kill you with fun.
Yeah. Can't wait for the news article for that. So let me just blast this really quick so we can move on. Interdimension access by 106 appears to be only accessible by 106. Recording and transmission devices have been shown to still operate in this dimension, although recordings and transmissions are very degraded. It appears that 106 will play with captured prey and appears to have full control of time, space, and perception in this dimension. In the event of a breach event by 106, a human within the 10 to 25 age bracket will be prepped for recall, with the compromised containment cell being replaced and restored for use. When the cell is ready, the lure... Oh, that sucks. You get if you're within 10 to 25 age, you just get used as a lure for when it escapes. When the cell is ready, the lure subject will be injured, preferably via the breakage of a long bone such as the femur, or the severing of a major tendon such as the Achilles tendon. Lure subject will be then placed into the prep cell, and the sound emitted by said subjects will be transmitted over the site public address system. 106 typically will begin to gravitate towards the lure subject within 10 to 15 minutes. Should SCP-106 not respond to the initial broadcast, initial physical trauma is to be administered to the lure subject at 25-minute intervals until 106 responds. Multiple lure subjects may be used in the case of major breach events. 106 will typically enter a dormant state after finishing with the lure subject. And the lure subjects do not look good afterwards. If you go to the actual SCP site, it kind of looks like what the, like the Halloween, holy shit, Mike Myers, how his mask kind of has that like dead kind of look to it.
Yeah.
Now imagine throwing that through like hydrochloric acid for a little bit. That's basically what the victims look like.
Nice, dude. That's just the way I like them. Yeah,
it's nice and cooked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're really getting your murderous urges out today, huh?
You're the one bringing it up, buddy. I'm the one talking about it, I guess.
Well, I'm glad, I'm hoping, the fact that we're talking about it is good. That's a good way to express yourself without, committing very serious crimes.
I wouldn't do that. I'm kidding, guys. Everybody knows I'm kidding. Just having a good time.
Just having a good old laugh and a giggle, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's see if you could save yourself with your next SCP.
It's not going to save me. I'll tell you that much. All right.
Oh, dear.
This one's a little bit weird. All right. It is called the Bad Joke Tomatoes. All right. And it is SCP-504. So, SCP-504 is a species of tomato physically and genetically identical to that of the typical commercially grown tomato. It was recovered in Redacted, Kentucky, after a woman reported to the police that her farmer husband had been, quote, murdered by his lunch, unquote. The Foundation is currently working to identify and destroy those loose strains of SCP-504 in the surrounding commercial farming areas. When a poor attempt at humor is made verbally within human hearing range of SCP-504's tomatoes, they instantly accelerate to a speed of at least 100 miles per hour in the direction of the sound source.
I'm liking this one.
Only mature tomatoes, separated from their vines and less than 10% rotted or chemically compromised, exhibit the effect once each. Tomatoes do not have to be physically intact, though ingested tomatoes are usually insulted enough from sound to prevent their effects before neutralization by the stomach acid. SCP-504 tomatoes seem to reach speeds relative to the inciting attempt at humor. Relevant variables seem to include corniness, humor to length ratio, and use of puns. Language appears irrelevant. And there is logs of tests done with SCP-504 that I would like to read a couple of for you guys today.
I am so interested in this.
So, the item is one mature SCP-504 tomato, and the joke was, what's an archaeologist? Someone whose career is in ruins. And the result was a tomato clocked at 124 miles per hour. Subject suffered a broken nose.
Okay, so it's not like exactly a guaranteed death, but it just like rockets itself forward.
Yes, very hard. And it depends, and the speed depends on the type of joke it is. It has a preference. So, yes.
So it's like it's a tomato that throws itself at you for bad comedy.
Exactly. So this is like my dream. This is exactly what would happen to me if they listen to this podcast, dude. You know how many tomatoes would be flying at my nose right now? A lot.
It would be like, I imagine it would be like getting like an automatic weapon filled with these tomatoes.
Oh yeah,
that's how many will be going. And they'll be going fast enough to reach that terminal velocity.
Yeah, man, I throw all my jokes out, and maybe 2 have stuck for 37 episodes. All right, here's the next one. It's another mature SCP-504 tomato. The joke is 3 tomatoes are walking down the street, a papa tomato, a mama tomato, and a little baby tomato. Baby tomato starts lagging behind. So Papa Tomato gets angry, goes over to the baby tomato, and smushes him and says, "Catch up." And the result was the tomato clocked in at 264 miles per hour. And subject was rendered unconscious.
Yep. It wasn't for the fact that it could be fatal. It's kind of fun. Yes.
So essentially, guys, don't tell crappy jokes. Here's one right here I think you might like. So this is the last one I'm going to do, but it just shows you the speed that could be going at you. So another mature SCP-504 tomato is the item. The subject is a portable computer playing a pre-recorded engineering joke, okay? Because they knew this was going to come in hard, so they didn't want to have a human do it. Mm-hmm. The joke was, 2009 is going to be a complex year. We already know the real part. We still have to find the imaginary part. I'm too stupid to get that joke. It's an engineering joke. So.
If you're an engineer out there and you get it, let us know why that makes sense.
It's so smart, it's dumb. And the result was a supersonic blast detected. Computer was completely vaporized by the tomato's kinetic energy. Sensor readings indicate an approximate speed of 2,174 miles per hour.
Wow. So
doesn't like engineering jokes the same amount that you and I don't like it, apparently.
I think that's kind of, most people are not a huge fan of engineering jokes. A little too like specific and niche.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you, better than me? What do you think, just because you went to school and you have your degree and you're a really smart human being, you think you're better than me, bro? You think you can also do jokes? No, you save the jokes for me and you get to look at your books, all right?
I wonder how many engineers you ended up actually playing with on WoW.
Probably a lot.
For all you know, some of your closest guild mates might be engineers.
Bunch of nerds. And really quick, special containment procedures. All seeds, plants, fruit, crossbreeds, and other products of SCP-504 are to be classified as SCP-504. SCP-504 seeds need no special containment other than to prevent misuse by unauthorized personnel. Grown SCP-504 plants and their fruit should be kept in soundproof rooms. Guards and researchers assigned to maturing or growing SCP-504 are to be equipped with radio-enabled masks, which insulate non-transmitted sounds. And the most important thing, there are to be no attempts at humor.
No funny guys allowed there.
Yeah, I guess I couldn't work and protect this one.
And then that could probably give us a good 150 mile per hour right there.
Dude, that was a bad joke. That would be at least in the 260s, maybe coming in at 300. Dude, that was bad.
Not a bad way to go, I guess. I mean, at least it'll be quick.
Yeah, death by tomato.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Was there any more on that?
That was it for the bad joke tomatoes.
And of course, now we're starting to get towards the end of the episode where, we kind of start off a little bit more serious and now we're kind of getting a little bit more fun stuff. But this is actually going to be the last one I'm going to be talking about.
Okay.
Let's see. Also from the SCP multiplayer game, this is SCP-207. Object class is safe. SCP-207 refers to a crate containing 24 Coca-Cola brand cola drinks. The bottles are designated as SCP-207A to X. 207B is currently the active bottle for testing, and no other bottles are to be opened without authorization from level 4 Oh, wow. Okay, I love reading out loud. Without authorization from 2 level 4 researchers. All bottles have been clearly labeled to aid identification. The liquid held inside these have been confirmed to be identical all across of SCP-207 and should not be ingested outside of supervised testing. The liquid itself has been classified as SCP-2071 and is to be treated as a Class 2 chemical hazard. 2071 does not appear to alter with age. However, the active testing bottle should have its protective cover kept on outside of removing liquid for testing. Mass spectroscopy. We really should do like vocal warm-ups before this. That like, what was it? The unique New York. New York is unique. You need unique New York.
All right, theater boy.
It helps. So, spectroscopy. We'll say that. And chemical tests have shown higher than usual concentrations of caffeine in sugars, both natural and artificial, along with redacted. The practical effect of this is when a subject drinks SCP-2071, they will effectively no longer require sleep or rest, nor attempt to sleep or rest. This effect is not lessened by any soporific or medication yet tested on test subjects. However, only a quantity larger than 5 milliliters will cause this effect. The reason for this lower boundary existing has not been found, although it is hypothesized by Dr. Redacted that redacted. As such, unless unauthorized by 2 level 3 researchers, only 5 milliliters of SCP-2071 is to be used for testing. Amounts higher than this have shown no difference in effect, with the exception of SCP-207, except for the subject SCP-207 was recovered from. In addition to removing the need for rest, 2071 also causes an increase in motor, reaction, and psychological functions. The increase is linear in progression, with an estimated 50% increase measured by standard medical protocols, plus minus 5% every 6 hours. The practical application of ingestion is that the subject is able to think, react, and move faster than others who have not ingested 2071. Mental proficiencies show the IQ of the subject to rise in line with other increases. However, 2071 does not alter the body of affected subjects. physiology remains unchanged and as such can rarely support this increase in activity. No subjects have lasted longer than 48 hours during testing, with the cause of death varying from massive internal organ failure to, this is a big one, exsanguination due to the major artery ruptures. Subjects also begin to show stress after roughly 24 hours, usually making each movement extremely careful in order to avoid accidents. Tests SCP-207 Alpha and Rho have shown that approximately 24 hours, the increases caused by SCP-207-1 mean that subjects can easily underestimate their speed. More specifically, in tests SCP-207 Rho, the subject was able to escape the containment area despite a 5-meter wall. However, this caused the test subject's internal bone structure expunged. So makes you really fast and makes you really smart, and you don't need to sleep. But your body doesn't change physiologically, so all those increases, it can only handle up to 48 hours.
Holy crap. So it's like, okay, how bad you want it, kid? How bad do you want it? Do it, but you'll die.
I feel like this would be good for like, you know how in like the old World War II suicide missions, they would dope up all the, I think it was especially the kamikaze pilots would be doped up with just like massive amounts of like, was it heroin or was it, there was something else.
Are you asking me because I'm part Asian? You think I'm going to know the answer to this?
Oh yeah, right. You would know more than I would, right?
It was heroin.
Knew it. Because heroin is kind of makes you care a lot less about what you're about to do, right?
Hell yeah, dude. That's why I do it before every podcast.
To all of our listeners, don't do heroin. It will destroy your life.
Yeah, just look at Kurt Cobain, dude. He died too long. He was already an old man when he he didn't actually kill himself, but we can get into that. We can
That's a good conspiracy to get into someday. So, yeah, that's a good subject. But before we get to that, there's a couple addendum. Well, there's a addendum here. 207 was recovered from Redacted College after reports of students redacted moving from failing grades in all areas, including physical sports, to top percentile marks and record-breaking performances in physical areas. Agent Redacted, embedded in the local police force, brought Redacted in for interview. Subject revealed the existence of SCP-207 during the interview. However, escape attempt while Class A amnesiacs were being administered resulted in the subject violently data expunged. Cause of death, organ failure due to massive internal hemorrhage. 207A was empty on recovery and is believed to be, and the subject was believed to have ingested a full bottle. 207 was recovered from the subject's home. SCP-207A was already empty. Redacted reported to local police force a missing person, and no further cause for surveillance of Redacted College is required at this time. The special containment procedures are that 207 is to be stored in a waterproofed locking metal container measuring 1 meter by 0.5 meters by 0.5 meters. The key is said to be issued to the current head researcher of Site Redacted's biocontainment area. 207 is to be retained inside this area at all times, and all personnel entering the area should be checked for any food or drink items in addition to any other searches required. Any staff seen ingesting SCP-207-1 are to be retained for future study with all Foundation clearance levels removed. All vending machines in Site Redacted are to only dispense clear carbonated beverages. Any variation from transparent is to be investigated immediately. So would you drink it knowing it'll kill you in 2 days?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It'll be a very fun last 2 days, I imagine.
Exactly. See, it's like I said, how bad do you want it? I want it pretty bad. I want to be able to be really fast for 2 days.
And it's interesting too, in the multiplayer game is an item you can drink that will increase your speed and strength, but also begins to drain your health over time. And you also get infinite stamina. So it's like you said, how bad do you want it?
That's awesome, man.
So it looks like it would be more of a desperate times call for desperate measures kind of deal, where if you know you're going to die anyways and you want to go out swinging, this is the SCP for you.
I love it. See, there's always a positive note at the end of these SCPs. Almost
exactly. Almost. Though it says there's no effect on aging to it. So I wonder if it just tastes like warm Coke.
Not bad.
Yeah, could be worse. I honestly, if it wasn't for the whole death thing, the whole like not needing to sleep anymore sounds awesome. Like I feel like I've struggled with my sleep schedule. I love sleeping. That's my problem. And just to just not need it anymore, like would quadruple productivity.
I would love to not sleep. I already don't sleep, and it's detrimental.
Though I don't know, it is really weird. Like I know I've had there was this one night where I fell asleep at midnight. I woke up at 2 and I just couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. And there's just something weird about like staying up all night and that you've been awake for the entire duration of darkness, and then you see the light come up and it's like, well, it just feels like another phase begins, and it's like this, I don't know, it's almost uncomfortable to me.
Yep, sounds like life, man. Life is painful like that, isn't it?
Life tends to be uncomfortable and kind of bright.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it for my SCPs. So why don't you finish us off with your final edition, which you purposefully have left me completely in the dark about it.
Okay, look, I left you in the dark about it because I don't want you getting scared. I know you're a scaredy cat. I know that we usually end on a lighter note with these, but I found one that I really liked. It's freaky. I'm just going to put it out there. It's probably the freakiest thing we have covered thus far on the podcast.
Really?
Yes. So I didn't want you looking it up and freaking out. So I wanted a true reaction from you. Okay. So object class is Keter. Oh, by the way, it's SCP 7394-J. Okay. It's an object class Keter, and let's get into it. So, description: SCP 7394-J is a small tree frog species unknown with the ability to redacted, causing massive internal bleeding and psychological trauma in subjects caught within a 2-kilometer radius of SCP-7394-J. Approximately 259 deaths have been traced back to SCP-7394-J. Right? Creepy.
Sorry, I couldn't help but notice you did the chocolate rain move away from the mic to breathe in trick.
I was laughing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was trying not to laugh too, but anyways.
The effect is overshadowed, however, by SCP-7394-J's hilarious ability to fart whenever it hops.
Of course it's... I should... Okay, go on.
Researchers have concluded that this fucking beast just won't stop letting them rip. And SCP-7394-J has been a major hit at almost every party. It is pretty much the funniest thing you'll ever see. Just trust researchers on this. Although certain recommendations toward creating stricter containment have been voiced, these have been downplayed in favor of increasing exposure to SCP-7394-J's humorous gaseous melodies.
So poetically written.
Personnel voicing these precautions obviously have no sense of humor, and if they would just watch SCP-7394-J farting at least once, researchers hypothesize they'll finally understand why this is so fucking entertaining. We have some addendums here. SCP-7394-J breaches containment from Site-44. 21 personnel casualties, 3 civilian. Nuclear failsafe deployed following breach of SCP-redacted, SCP-redacted, and SCP-redacted. Last message from Site-44. Quote, did this really loud beer fart we all want?
And so this thing can kill us though, huh?
Yeah, it's a very deadly creature. SCP-7394-J lets out, quote, silent but deadly, unquote, fart. Hilarity ensued. Redacted personnel left permanently disabled.
Oh my God. So,
A ceasefire is called at site redacted during an attack by Chaos insurgents in order to allow the insurgents to hear SCP-7394-J. Insurgents later admitted, quote, "That was all we really came to do. It lived up to all our expectations," unquote. Fighting resumed, resulting in redacted estimated casualties.
Wow, this thing's pretty popular.
And now let's get into the containment procedures of SCP. Oh man, SCP-7394-J is to be kept in a small box in janitorial assistant James's closet. Who will tweet every time SCP-7394-J lets rip a hilarious one. Janitorial assistant James is to use the hashtag Keter Frog Farts.
Oh my God. What the fuck has what even?
Oh dude, that's the last one I chose.
That's amazing. And I notice how it's very specifically how it kills people has been completely expunged.
Yes, because that's not the point.
What is it? I'm looking at it now. 259 deaths attributed, but the farts are really funny, so they just keep it alive. Wow, I hope you're proud of yourself.
I am proud of myself, man. That was a good one.
Woo. That was pretty good. That was a good lead up too. Yeah, you had me kind of at the edge of my seat. I was like prepping to lose sleep tonight.
Thank you. Yes, it's called acting.
Oh yes, dramatic flair.
Okay, but that was it for my SCPs. And we did it. That was part 3, SCP, and I also got a P. So
yeah,
let's wrap this bad boy up, Tasker. Oh, before we wrap it up, something I got to talk to you about. We can talk about it in front of the listeners. Count Chocula. I got a letter in the mail.
Right.
They basically what happened is they data mined my phone. Okay.
Oh shit. Okay.
They found the Snapchat I sent to you a week and a half ago from Target when I saw the actual box of the cereal.
Which, by the way, I did not see Count Chocula at my Ralph's recently.
You did not see it.
I did not.
Okay, that's not a good sign for me. That's not good.
Yeah, it's looking really bad.
So they got the picture. They know what we're doing. They've been listening to the episodes. I was like, why did we get a jump in listens all of a sudden? It's because they're doing research on us.
Yep. Profiling us, probably.
Profiling us. Cat's out of the bag, essentially. So we have a very limited amount of time now because they know it's on and they know the hunt's on. So what's the next step? What are we going to do here?
It's like, because we could record it ASAP, but what's the point of recording it if it's not everything, you know? So I think we need to, well, I know there's like, because everything's in Corona, like there's a bunch of discounts on like, like computer programming classes and stuff like that. I think we need to do a quick crash course. We need to learn how to make ourselves untraceable before they can find us.
Good idea. And I think if any listeners out there knows how to do that, please reach out. Let us know. I'm a little frightened at this point because, like Tasker said, he doesn't have Count Chocula at his grocery store.
Mm-hmm. So they definitely know where you are. And that also brings up a question, I mean, I know it's topical to this episode, but at this point, do you think Count Chocula might count as an SCP?
Fuck, at this point, anything's possible, man.
Yeah, so kind of terrifying, but we'll keep you guys updated. Like you said, let us know if there's anything you can do to help keep us safe. Because obviously, if we're dead, we can't keep making these episodes.
Please.
So yeah, we would love any sort of support, but we will keep you in the know. Like we said, we're in kind of a scary zone right now. We're kind of in an end game scenario right here, but that's not going to deter us from. We're not going to half-ass the episode after all this bullshit,
Nope. No, we have to keep going. We have to keep compiling evidence. We have to keep doing the outline. We're not just going to regurgitate some information that we've remembered over the last year. We have to make it right. So please keep us safe. I'm desperate. Apparently,
Yeah.
I'm the only person in the country that Count Chocula is being sold in their local grocery store, and I'm freaking out. So I need help.
Yep. Well, and for all we know, maybe it's just a warning sign and they're just watching us. So maybe they're just waiting for us to release the episode and see how bad it is before, because they might, for all we know, they may not know what we have.
Very good point. All right. Well, I'm going to just keep my fucking fingers crossed because I can't. I'm not going to the grocery store anymore. I'm not snapping you pictures anymore. I'm done. All right. If they're listening to this right now, I'm done.
Yeah, we might want to brick our phones too and start fresh.
I already did that on accident, though.
Dropped it in the toilet.
Nah, I downloaded the iOS beta.
Even worse. Yeah. Well, thank you all for listening. As usual, SCP episodes I hope we could save you some reading. And this is a good episode to listen to at night. I should have said that in the beginning of the episode, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. But as you know, Count Chocula episode's still in the works. iTunes, please 5-star rate and review. That would be super fantastic if you could. Spotify, shoot us a follow. New episodes every Wednesday as per usual. No changes there. Instagram, we are at CEOTPK. Twitter, we are at CEOTPK1. Facebook, we are Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. Please email us at ceotpk1@gmail.com for any inquisitions. Facebook also works just as well. Discord is discord.gg/b6 capital C capital T 5 capital M capital X. If you have a couple dollars that you feel that we deserve, we could donate to us at ko/fi.com/CEOTPK.
And you know what? I'm not going to get too mushy. We've been getting mushy at the end of these episodes, but you guys know that we appreciate you, right? You know every single one of you guys out there. So thank you. If whether you've rated and reviewed or not, who gives a shit? As long as you're listening, I care. And I love you guys. I don't know.
I bet that fills them with either a heavy sense of dread or a nice little warm feeling deep within the cockles of their hearts.
Don't you love me too, guys? Don't you love me too?
And that's the cult starting.
That's it. Join me.
Please don't, because then I have to deal with this.
Yes, but you'll be my right-hand man, and you'll love it.
I'll learn to love it, probably.
Look, everybody, Tasker included, whether you're a hopping, farting frog, or if you're a dissolving, corrosive old man, just remember that the truth is out there.
SCPs are written fictionally. They don't exist. Sleep well tonight, because it's not. Come on, nose spray. Do your thing.
Keep that in. That was good. Keep that in.